we can point out certain connections. I mean, one, for example, is Larry Silverstein, that everyone says, oh, well, he clearly knew what was going to happen because of the financial dealings and the 99-year lease and all of that stuff. But all I can say to that is he might have known.
Yeah.
I don't...
It's interesting.
It's interesting. I suspect he probably did know something.
It doesn't tell us what happened, though.
But it doesn't tell us what happened. It doesn't tell us, who he knew. Do you think he's going to tell us? Do you think he's going to tell us what he knew and who told him?
Okay. Sit down with Larry. All right. If they make a video and Larry Silverstein sits there and says, "All right, we're off the record. This is 100%. This is Larry one-on-one. I'll give you the real scoop." It's going to be bullshit. Just to let everybody know, it's going to be crap that he said.
And pretty much. And I mean, unless I saw a video of Larry Silverstein, being interviewed, and he said, "Look, what happened was some guys in the military-industrial complex, they've actually been developing this weapon system. I don't know who owns it, but I can tell you that Science Applications International Corporation, they know about it." If Larry Silverstein said that, then I'd be fairly confident that he was starting to tell the truth.
Well, we got to think then, what does he want from us at that point?
At that point, I would, absolutely.
Wow. What does he want that he's saying that?
What does he want? Because he's already established his record, at least as far as we can tell, as being untrustworthy.
A couple different records, right? Hasn't he changed the story a bit? The firefighter pull thing. That's another famous thing. The firefighter pull thing.
Correct.
Well, architects and engineers blast that everywhere. They love to.
Oh yeah.
You think they'd be smarter than that? So, but anyways, one last thing about Richard Gage's. I read to you guys, and you guys could see it on the internet on his AMA. He definitely said in a bunch of places he wanted to be able to answer as many people's questions as possible because he only had a certain amount of time. He did take the time to answer somebody's question. I'll read it right here. It was Emma Williams XXX, and what she wrote is, "I do not have a question, but thank you so much for doing this. You really are a hero." Richard Gage replied, "Hey, Emma Williams XXX, are you single? Smiley face." So, people, this is what he takes time. Yeah, it was 2 seconds. Yeah, you can't be serious all the time, but still, this is an important thing, people. I would never, ever, and I don't think Dr. Wood ever, or you would ever, or Morgan Reynolds, or Jesse Ventura, or anybody that has any credibility with this would ever say something like that. You have to present yourself professionally, and he just asked, even if it was weird, eh?
It is. I mean, it's slightly creepy when you see that sort of response in that context. Yep. What drives the guy, and of course, there are whole other areas of research which can be suggestive of, shall we say, certain, commonalities between these groups of people, which are extremely unsavory, to say the least. And so, perhaps we just leave that one at that.
Yeah. So, okay, we're almost wrapping up here.
Okay.
I'm just want to go over to the importance of knowing data before you talk, and knowing it well and being able to produce it, because you're going to get in those talks where people are going to see you somewhere else and you have nothing on you. For me, I would just recommend that people, if you can't talk about it, just ask them more questions, get engaged that way, rather than trying to say, don't say, "Oh, it was a 125-story building. I'm almost sure it was about 700,000 tons." Don't muddle the information, like you've said many times. Your thoughts on that?
Correct. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of things that people can do. I have some little booklets that I send out, and it's just called 9/11 What Happened, and it's like a little A5 booklet. It's literally 5, you'd call them letter-sized sheets, but stapled into a booklet. And they've just got a summary of the main points of evidence, the main questions, really, which you can put in front of people. And I've been giving these out for years, sending them out for years and years. That you can download as a little PDF file. Now, of course, if you've got things like a smartphone with a large screen, you could put on there a little PowerPoint file and put a PowerPoint viewer on your smartphone, even put some video clips on there, and you can carry this around in your pocket, because these have got multi-gigabyte storage now, You've got an iPad, stick it on your iPad, and you can carry it with you. So if you do want to engage with people, then, and you actually do get somebody who's is genuinely curious and isn't sort of 100% locked into the program, so to speak.
Yep.
You never know. You might sort of make them, start to open up to their own journey if they want to discover it. So yeah, iPads, smartphones, anybody that's listening to this that wants those files, I'll direct them to them.
Yeah.
You know, you can edit them if you wish. You know, to maybe delete some slides or add some slides, or I can give you some guidance on that. I know other people that have done this. You know, I've sent them PDF files and things like this. So that's one thing you could do. You know, get some leaflets printed, as you say. That can be a bit more expensive. But
well,
yeah,
even now you don't even need to talk to the person. You have AirPlay on your phones now, especially with the new iPad 6, where you can go into a hot zone, see everyone else, just drop that file off. If anyone wants to accept it, if you're at the mall or something, they could say, hey, this file here about Dr. Wood's work or something like that, they could accept it. You don't have to make a username, post on a message board, keep posting. You could do stuff. We're in the age of technology. Well, with what technology we have, but you could, like I said, AirPlay it. People can just drop it near everyone near you on your AirPlay, and people can access it. So another thing too, kind of tying to that, is some people just refuse to critically think about it. They just go over, I mentioned to you the other day about the guy talking about the meteorite, how he just kept going on, and he wanted me to provide evidence about this meteorite when he talked to me. We won't even go into it, but anyways, some people just, you can't help them, and I'm not trying to help them. I'm trying to get them to critically think so that I don't have to think for them, you know. So don't be drawn into fights with people. Right. Just know when to throw in the towel. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you feel too much resistance, I mean, this is something of a personal thing as well, because you know, it depends on your own character and what drives you. You know, I'm pretty much a sort of a fairly, generally sort of fairly quiet sort of person. I don't like to offend people. I don't like to be confrontational. I tend to mind my own business a lot. So if I'm trying to present something to people and there's resistance, then I generally just don't proceed with it. I'll try, you know, up to a certain point. But then, you know, if you're just going to create confrontation, then they're not going to listen to you, and you're just probably going to make it worse for yourself later. So you could try and see, you know, if you think, try and assess the situation as it's developing and see if you think there might be an opening another day, if you've caught somebody at a bad time or what have you, you know.
Don't bombard them. Don't bombard the people. Yeah.
No, I mean, you know, again, if you know somebody's really intelligent, they're very knowledge-oriented, maybe they'll react better. But, you know, I mean, I had this thing the other night where it wasn't specifically 9/11 related, but I'd read their webpage as something I'd not spoken to before, and they were talking about something, a scientific bit of sort of research they'd done, and I wrote to them with some additional information which I thought probably they would find useful, and I just got this really rude message back from them, you know, saying, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about," and well, clearly I do know what I'm talking about. So I just, you know, occasionally you get these sort of very adverse reactions. So be ready for that, for this kind of absolutely adverse reaction. And, you know.
And the people that half-ass the information, like there was a few people on this AMA, and you've probably experienced it before, where people will just kind of, they'll beat around the bush. They'll say, "Oh, what do you think about Dr. Wood's hypothesis or Dr. Wood's theory or something?" And I have reason to believe that some of those people actually know all about it and they're supporters, but they don't want to like have their name associated. I had one moderator after that AMA reply to me, and he was kind of just saying, "Wow, he said, thank you for asking the questions. You had more courage than me. I wasn't. I couldn't do it," and he's like, "I'm already getting flack for just mentioning her once," you know. To those people, I just have to say, I have to be kind of blunt. Don't be cowards. Being cowardly is not going to get you anywhere. If you have the information, it's your duty to share it to everybody. If you be a coward, then how do you expect things to change if you're just hiding from it? Yes. If you're not willing to talk about it, how do you live like that? You know, say you're gonna have to say something will really change with your life after. I don't want to say it doesn't matter that this will affect your life, but there's bigger things than you. I'm sorry to say that. There's bigger things than me, Mike Sacchetta, you know, there's bigger things than Andrew Johnson. And
absolutely.
And I know a lot of people have their families, they're comfortable with they got to protect the kids or whatever, but it comes to a point where you guys are going to have to fight now this way, or who knows, in the future you might have to like fight another way. Not saying that there's going to be any type of revolution or something, but it's a lot easier. It's going to be a lot easier now, and it's not even easy now, but don't be a coward, people. Please, if you want to talk about the information, get it right and address it. Don't beat around the bush, because you're going to get half-ass answers if you give half-ass questions.
I think that works in two ways as well, because you can be courageous in approaching other people and dealing, but I think you have to have an internal courage as well, because when you realize what's actually happened and what's at stake, it is kind of fairly massive, and it can take several months to actually come to terms with it internally. And then how you decide to proceed from that point is up to you, basically. I don't think anybody can help you make that sort of journey. And there's a chap that I got in touch with over the last sort of year, and he's been having we've talked quite a lot, and I've got to know him a bit now. And he's kind of more, I don't know. I suppose he's probably more courageous in approaching people than I am. And he's been having a hard time sort of dealing with the reactions that he's getting of apathy and this sort of thing.
It's draining.
So be ready. It is draining. Be ready for complete apathy. When you may feel very deeply that you cannot be apathetic about this, but unfortunately, and I mean, like, just going back to Richard Gage for a minute, I would like to be able to stop him doing what he's doing.
Yes. Yes.
And I think you would too, but we can't do anything, because we're not hateful people. We don't hate people. We don't go around, say rah rah rah. Let's put this person down or whatever, and this sort of thing. We're not like that. We're just the people that get into this. We're peaceful people, and we're not. I like what John Lear says. If he says, love your family, and if you can live your life without envy, hate, or greed, then you might get somewhere, kind of thing, and I very much sympathy. That's very much my kind of attitude. If you can get rid of the envy, hate, and greed, but Richard Gage is going to carry on doing what he's doing. He's been doing it for 7 years. He's not going to stop doing it.
It's ramping up now. It's getting larger
absolutely.
Now. The TV ads are coming out. They got
you.
The spot on TV. It's whenever something happens and gets in gear like this, that something is coming of it. You know that it's being pushed in that direction for a reason. We could expect to hear a lot from architects and 9/11 engineers, simply because people know the original story is bullshit, and we're on a new war now, right? We're on the war with ISIS. So the old war, it's all right to examine the old war.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, so Andrew, that's enough of your time today. I'm sure I'll take up some more hours in the future from you if you're willing to come back.
Sure, yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Thank you for everything. Thank you so much for talking to us. There's only so much we could accomplish. Any closing thoughts about anything?
Yes, well, I think that's a good closing thought. There's only so much we can accomplish, and I've tried to, for example, keep on an even keel, despite what I know, and despite feeling helpless sometimes. I've tried to keep the rest of my life around me quite normal, not only because that makes my life easier, which in some ways might sound like a bit of a cop-out, but at least it's given me a stable basis from which to continue. So don't try not to ruin your own life over this if you do get caught up in it, because you're only going to make it harder for yourself to do whatever it is you want to do, and so that, I suppose, is what I would say. And just keep, if you have doubts, if you, for example, have doubts about anything that I've said, anything's not clear, or you want to ask me personal questions, then write to me. I encourage people to interact with me and try and resolve any kind of misgivings they might have about what I've said or what I've put on my website, and any sort of things they don't understand. I do work as a tutor for the Open University still, so my job for the students is to help them understand things better. So I like to think I can transfer that into this area too.
Yep. And just another closing thought too. Like I said, you do this all for next to no cost. I believe you said you had a donation thing, but just to simply help, get books out. Like, if I had money, like you're saying, if I had $1 million, wow, I would just, Dr. Wood's book, I would get a lot of them. I would put them out to every library. I'd put them out to everybody in any type of important academic field, But again, Andrew's doing what he can, mostly on his own time. So we have to thank him for that. I don't want to say whether the information be true or not, because that's not the case. because Andrew doesn't go much into speculation, especially with the 9/11 stuff. You know, it's not healthy for anyone to do that, and he recognizes that, and he's not going to do that. So we just want to thank Andrew Johnson again for coming on the podcast, and we'll hopefully see you again, Andrew.
Thank you, Mike, and you take care.
Have a great day.
And you.